All right, when I record, it just comes through my microphone and what's on the camera here. And I just do this for people who are absent. So we're going to go over both of these. My expectation is that if you have credit for Algebra 1 that you know how to solve equations. Some of you might not be super familiar with these because we didn't do very many of them last year, but we will do a bunch this year, and they're pretty easy. So I'll show you those in just a moment. But let's do number 2 first. When we're solving an equation, we want to simplify, and that involves 3 things. Number 1, get rid of parentheses. So I'm going to start by distributing this 2, multiply it by both things, we get 6x plus 12. And another thing we do when we simplify is we combine like terms. I'm going to do this in the same step. I see a 3x and a negative 1x on the same side that I can put together. They both have x's, so 3 minus 1 gets us 2 x's. We still have our minus 8. So that would be my first step. You might have done that in 2 steps. That's fine. Any questions on that first step? So simplify, you want to look for parentheses, get rid of them, like terms, combine them. And then the third thing we do when we're simplifying is we can only have an x in one place in our equation. If you see an x on both sides, you need to get rid of one or the other before you solve. So I see x's in both sides of my equation. I'm going to choose to get rid of one or the other. It doesn't really matter, but I'm choosing to get rid of the 2x. So I'm going minus 2x on both sides. That goes away. We get 4x plus 12 equals negative 8. So we're done simplifying here. We don't have any more parentheses. There's no more like terms over here. And there's only x's in one spot. We're ready to solve. Any questions about the simplifying part? All right, now we're just going to work to get x by itself. So I'll get rid of the plus 12. We'll go minus 12 on both sides to get 4x equals negative 20. And then divide that 4 to make that go away. And we'll get x equals negative 5. How many people got negative 5 on that one? Nice. Excellent work. All right, we're going to do number 2. This is the one that most people had questions on. Does anybody remember the term for the method we use to solve these types of equations where it's a fraction on both sides? It's a 2-word term. The initials are CM. Do you remember what it is? Cross multiply. Does that sound familiar to you guys? I've heard some teachers call this the butterfly method too. Cross multiply is a little bit more technical. The idea is you multiply across, you draw an x across the equal sign and you multiply the things that are connected by that x. So I'm going to have a new equation. It's going to have an equals in the middle. And I'm going to multiply this 2 on the bottom times this x minus 4. So I'm going to write 2 parentheses x minus 4. So I'm multiplying those 2 things together. And then over here, I'm going to have this 3 multiplied by the x plus 5. 3 parentheses x plus 5. So that's the cross multiply step. And that gets you to a situation where you no longer have fractions. That gets rid of our fractions. Have you guys seen that before? Who's seen that? Give me a thumbs up if you've seen cross multiplying before. All right, some people call it butterfly method because they kind of circle these things and it kind of looks like a butterfly. I don't know. Anyways, that's the big thing. And then we just go ahead and solve that. We're going to distribute to get rid of our parentheses on both sides. So that would give us 2 times x is 2x minus 8. We've got 3x plus 15. Parentheses are gone. I don't see any like terms that I can combine. I do have x's on both sides. We want to deal with that. Y'all want to get rid of the 2x or the 3x? Get rid of the 3x. So you're going to do a minus 3x on both sides. By the way, there's no wrong answer to that. If you got rid of the 2x instead, that's fine. That leaves me negative 1x minus 8 equals 15. And now we're ready to start getting that x by itself. Add 8 is where I'd start as well. Plus 8 on both sides. Gets us negative 1x equals 23. And last step to get rid of that negative 1. We could just flip the signs on both sides. That's a legal move. I'm going to kind of follow the same rules that we did last year in Algebra 1. Just divide both sides by a negative 1. We could multiply both sides by a negative 1. you're going to end up, either way you do that, with x equals negative 23. Several of you asked me as I was coming around and stamping, is this the right answer? And if you had negative 23, the answer is yes. All right. Do you feel comfortable that you could now go back to 57 part E and F and pull those ones off now that we've done that? In 57 part E, I would multiply this 5x times the 26 and the 57 times the 849. I needed a calculator for that. And then solve that equation. And F is very similar to the one that we just did. Draw that x across your equals and then cross multiply. All right, you guys are doing awesome. Thank you so much for your attention through that.